In this quick video, I'm going to show you how you can make illuminated frames for displaying all types of different products. I'm going to use them to display these Formula One cars. So here are the items that you will need for the build. I used an IKEA roll down frame at size 50 by 70, but this will depend on your particular project. Then I used 5-meter cob lighting. Now, based on these frames, that is enough to make 2 frames, so it's $7.50 per frame. And I went for really thin 3mm cob lighting, so this makes it easy to be hidden. Then we got in the power supply. You can get single power supplies for about €3. However, because I wanted to power multiple frames, I got a 6-amp power supply, and that is powering 4 frames. So it works out about €2 per frame. The barrel connectors are optional. That just makes it easier to connect and disconnect the frames rather than having them hardwired. You can unplug them and take them off the wall much easier. I also included a dimmer that's optional because the cob lighting can get quite bright. So by putting these in, you can dim it to a suitable level. Then there's the hook that you'll be using to hook the frames to the wall, but also to actually put a hook on the frame itself so that you can mount whatever the item is that you want onto the frame. And then I've also included here the printing of the backdrop. You may not need this, but if you want to print the backdrops, I managed to get those printed at €8 for canvas printing, €8 per picture. So that works out about a cost of €35 per frame complete. So here is the frame, and this gives a nice rim to actually mount the cob lighting and hide it behind the frame itself. Here you can see the cob lighting. It is very thin at 3mm, very easy to bend, is self-adhesive, and gives a nice even light. So when we open the frame, you see that we have this inner frame that we're going to be mounting our cob lighting to. Now I'm going to cut a notch out of the corner to allow the power cable to come through the edge. However, what I've found is if you just cut a notch, it can tend to fall apart. So I'm going to reinforce each corner with staples first. It's not essential, but it just makes your life a little bit easier. Okay, so now I've got this notch cut out. Now you won't see this because this will be covered by the lip of the frame. As you see here, there's quite a pronounced lip. So this will all be covered. Now what I also need to do now is also just drill a tiny hole to allow it to get from this side of the frame to the outside. So you see now we've got a little notch cut out, so this will allow the lighting to pass through here and out to the back of the frame. Now the good news, at each end of these 5-meter strips of cob lighting, there's the wiring already there for you. So all I'm going to do, I'm going to run the cob lighting right along this lip, and you can see this means that it will be completely hidden, and I'll show you that in a moment. And then the power just goes through there and comes here to the back of the frame. So you can see now I've got it threaded through that little gap, and then it will pop up here. And you see also you can peel this backing off because it's all self-adhesive, and then I'm just going to stick it along this edge here. Now you can see I've already stuck it along this edge here. Just push it into place, and it's all self-adhesive. And the beauty about this cob lighting when I get to the corner is it's incredibly flexible, so you can just tuck it into that corner and carry on sticking it around, and you get a real nice tight curve. So now you can see I've gone all around the inner edge of this, and now when you get to the end, if you just flip over the cob lighting, you'll see there's some points there. See the points just here, and you are safe to cut those. So you just select a length so that some of it can just tuck in, so you get a nice seamless finish. You just cut it and stick it down. So there we are, it's finished now. You can see we just get a nice seamless finish where it just goes in there, and now we've got the power. And at this stage you can obviously mount your picture or whatever you're going to put in and frame. What you also want to do, I wanted the cutout to be here, so the back plate of the frame, you also want to cut a notch out here to allow it to come through. You may also, depending, on your frame may need to cut out a notch of the Perspex front cover, but I found that there's enough space that that's not needed. So now you can see the frame, and with no lights on it just looks like a normal frame, because the actual lights you can see are really hidden behind this lip. The final thing I do is I solder a barrel connector on to them, so I can connect them from the power supply, because as you can see the power supply has a barrel connector also, and this is eventually what they look like with the lights on. So you can see there, if we get close up, you can see the lights are in there. Now the last thing I do is just mount a hook to hook the item that you want to display onto the frame. So I drilled 2 holes through the hooks that I have, because they didn't have holes, but yours may do. And then I passed a small bolt through and bolted it to the back. And I actually put a large washer on the back as well to make sure that it doesn't pull through the frame.